and welcome to another segment of our regular program on Forward TV towards 2023. My name is Diamond Elizabeth Ofwan. Forward TV is an online television channel that streams live on Facebook and YouTube weekly. We digest issues in our polity that affect Nigerians. The year 2023 is less than 2 years away, and already political parties, groups, and gladiators have started talking on alliances, coalition, and possible measures as part of the strategies aimed at ensuring victories against the All Progressive Party, APC, in the electoral contest of that year. It is in this regard that a team of leaders of some of the 18 registered parties recently visited the National Secretariat of Action Democratic Party, ADP, where they held discussion with the national leadership of the ADP. Marikana Ibiang has the report.
According to Dr. Yunus Salisu Tanko, the need for collaboration, alliances, and possible eventual merger between the several opposition political parties in the country was necessary to rescue the nation from further drift towards becoming a rudderless ship in the midst of a storm. He explained that the APC and the PDP have variously failed to produce the political leadership needed to steer Nigeria on the path of economic and social revolution and greatness, pointing out that the present situation of abject poverty, economic doldrums, and insecurity were products of the incompetent leadership of the two major political parties, the APC and PDP, that had been ruling the country since 1999.
Well, we come to identify the fact that Nigeria needs a lot of good leaders, and in identifying those particular good leaders and political parties, the ADP happens to be one of them that we identify. And we felt it's very important for us to visit the chairman and some of his leadership to discuss how we can rescue Nigeria from the situation in which we find ourselves. And we believe strongly too that if we can come together, taking our strength and looking at our SWOT analysis, we will be able to give Nigeria the leadership that it has long been yearning for.
Dr. Yunus Tanko said it was time that enlightened and patriotic segments of the political elite come together to provide Nigerians with an alternative political platform in tandem with the prevailing realities and political dynamics. According to him, if members of the opposition do not seize the opportunity of coming together at this critical moment, then they should all be prepared to perpetually surrender political power to the APC and the PDP, which he described as the two sides of a bad coin.
When the APC was formed, there was no program of agenda. The interest was just for them to get power. When they got power, they didn't even know what to do with it. But in this dispensation, we are saying that we have a program of agenda that we want to give to the Nigerian people, which is different. And that particular program of agenda is not our own making, it is the people's making. And that's a wide gap, because they are doing what they feel they want to do for the people. But we are saying we want to do what the people want.
He said the ruling APC is currently not as strong as it was at inception, that the party will fizzle out on the exit of President Muhammadu Buhari at the end of his tenure in 2023. This, he pointed out, was because the different groups and blocs that collapsed into the APC only came together with the one objective of capturing power, and that all the individuals and groups that gave up their identities for the APC were poised to find new alliances and platforms. He accordingly called on the opposition political parties to work towards alliances, collaboration, and eventual merger in order to fill the imminent political vacuum.
But one thing we want to tell Nigerians is that they should open their doors wide open, that we are coming to rescue them from their situation.
Another member of the delegation, architect Ezike Nyaituk, said the opposition should not exercise fears that votes of the electorate will not count because, according to him, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakub, has repeatedly demonstrated his integrity, who would prefer to resign his appointment rather than give in to pressure to compromise on credible and transparent conduct of the election process. I am Marikana Ibiang reporting.
On the program today, we shall be discussing some issues in our polity, And as usual, we have a guest in the house. He is no any other than the National Chairman of Action Democratic Party, ADP, Engineer Yabagi Yusuf Sani, Jakandan Nobe. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth.
Your Excellency, sir, in view of the 2023 general elections, there has been talk of coalition, alliances, and even merger between the political parties. What is the position of ADP?
Well, we are really excited because the message of ADP as the credible alternative has really, caught up in a way that most political, actors are looking our way in order to explore possibilities of how they can partner with us or we collaborate together in order to ensure that we change the narratives for Nigerians, meaning that we provide them credible alternative for good governance, for prosperity, for unity, and above all, for effective, pragmatic leadership, because that's what is lacking in Nigeria today. Nigeria, like you know, is a very big country, endowed, blessed, with natural resources. But the missing link between Nigeria and greatness is leadership. So, and then from all indications, ADP is properly situated. The fact that we have remained focused, consistent, and resolute to ensure that Nigerians will experience what is called good governance come 2023. So no wonder groups like the ones that visited us recently, came to find out how they can partner with us, like I said, so that the narratives will change. We remain focused and resolute, like I said, to ensure that there is a change in what is happening in this country for the better, not the kind of change that we experienced when this administration came on board. So the group came, of course, for engagement in terms of how we can partner together.
Okay, sir. What's your take on the unfolding phase between the federal government and the River State government on collection of value-added tax?
Well, you see, Nigerians have been agitating for restructuring, and like you know, ADP believes 100% in restructuring of our economy. Because why? Nigeria is a big country. We play big in the global economic setting. We are also respected all over the world in terms of when you look at the position of Nigeria in the Committee of Nations. This is not for any reason other than the fact that Nigeria is the biggest country on the continent of Africa, both in terms of population, in terms of our GDP, and in terms of the size of the country itself. So, and today, if you are looking for countries that have huge population, I think Nigeria comes after China, India. The next country that you can look at is Nigeria. So the unfortunate thing here is that our huge population tends to be a liability because it's not a population that is geared towards productivity, because the government has refused or has not been able to come.
Happening in the country,
No,
not productivity,
to
we're
make-
not reducing,
to
we're
make,
just...
yes, to make the citizens to become, to acquire skills,
Okay.
to be productive, to be gainfully employed, so that the population, the huge population you have, will now become a source of wealth, meaning that if you have manufacturing companies here, when they manufacture something, they have something who can buy, because if you don't have the sizable disposable income, which you can use to buy products, the manufacturing industry sector will not be able to experience that activities, increase, that it should be there where you have population. So, like I'm saying, the VAT scenario, what has happened between River State and government,
Yes.
where River State went to court in order to allow the law to allow them to collect the VAT, I think it's a good development. But the fact is that, you see, we're getting it wrong. River State also is getting it wrong, because the almost 60-something% of the VAT collected in this country is by the federal government. So if you say every state will collect their own VAT, yes, some of the states, even Lagos State, may discover that what they are thinking is not what it is. Because like Lagos State, you have most of big companies have their headquarters in Lagos, isn't it? So I was using an example of like these network providers, this MTN, Airtel, whatever. So you see, the traffic is not generated only in Lagos. Like in Abuja here, you go to Bida, you go to Kano, you go to Calabar. The network, the traffic is generated by people living in those areas. And VAT says is the tax you pay on consumption, of products or services. So now, how do you now, so if...
balance the whole thing.
Exactly. And Lagos State, you see, that's what I'm saying, the VAT collected in Lagos State, which is 70%, almost the whole of it is from the port. That is when you pay duties and things, the import duties and what have you. I'm not in any way saying that Lagos by itself does not generate, revenue by way of people that, consumption. So we have to be very careful, and like today the sharing formula is that 20% is derivation, which is given to the state where the VAT is collected, and 50% is given to all the states, 35% given to all the local governments, 15% goes to the federation account. But the question you ask yourself is that, even as it is today, what have they been doing with the money? The citizens have not seen anything in terms of all the huge, about 4.53 trillion or 1.53 trillion was collected last year in terms of VAT. So what have they done with it? These state governments, River State, what have they done with the money? What has Lagos State done with the money? With the huge sums of money that they say they are collecting. Or for that matter, what has the federal government done with that money? So the question is not who is collecting. The question is, how do you utilize it for the benefit of the people? So that's what the question that Nigeria should be asking the government. Because when you look at such taxes that derivation of, if you go to the oil and gas sector, for instance, where 13.7% is given to the oil states as derivation, that has not translated to development. That has not translated into improvement in the lives of the citizens of those states. The agitation that you find, that is coming is more from those states that are supposed to be rich states. So it's not who collects, it's not how much you collect, but it's what you do with it. Then you should ask the government, what are you doing with the VAT if you are collecting such huge sums of money?
Wow. In a nutshell, what is your assessment, APC-led federal government under President Muhammadu Buhari, on the area of...
how bad they are performed?
Yeah, the assessment, the area of economic
to assess how bad
security and welfare of the
because how do you assess this kind of situation, which has economic retrogression, insecurity, like you said, it has become the order of the day. Poverty is so pervasive everywhere. We have become effectively number 3 most terrorized nation in the world. We are the poverty capital of the world. So I mean, I don't know what statistics you are going to use. Even GDP-wise, in 2015, we are pushing. 2014, we are pushing almost $600 billion. That time, we were saying the economy was underperforming. So what do you say to me? We've lost almost 30% of that. It's about less less than 400 billion US dollars today that we are making. Look at inflation. Look at unemployment level. Look, inflation is about 17.70% or 18%. That full inflation is even more than 20%. So what are we talking about? Meaning that Nigerians are poorer by 20%, even whatever you think you are taking home. President Buhari has what it takes. Do you know why I say he has what it takes? He is a senior citizen. He is not coming back to contest for elections anymore. The only thing that bothers him that should preoccupy him today is what legacy am I leaving behind. So that's why I said that is enough to really, energize him and then make him to say, I must perform. I have to do the best I can. And no wonder he's sacking the ministers. I don't know why it's taking him so long, because most of the ministers he has in his cabinet, as not really performing. And that's the word performing is even, that's something that I think I wish I could find something else to use to describe them. That I don't even know, the kind of feedback or the kind of assessment, that is used, to, in the first instance, bringing those people on board, and when they were on board, how do you keep them for this long? So, to assess President Buhari's administration, I'm glad, there's a resemblance of some, activities now that the government has woken up to their responsibilities. The president today traveled to Imo State, to supervise and then some projects and things like that. So I don't know whether it is because elections are by the corner, that's why they are pushing him by all means to go and do those things, or it's the realization that I need to leave a legacy, which he has, what it takes, because he is not a young man, he's not somebody that is new to government, he knows the workings of government, he knows what to do. He knows that he doesn't even have to leave if he chooses. It's just, the mere fact that they see him now moving around, believe me, will change the whole perception of the government, and it will energize other governors to want to invite him to come and commission some projects for them, so that they can, So these are the things we've been waiting for. And also on insecurity, I've been reading that the security forces have taken the battle to the doorsteps of the security people. They are killing them. They are taking the situation, to the level that we believe it should be. That we have, because we have what it takes.
But Gumi is saying, Sheikh Gumi is saying that that's not the best.
Yeah, well, you have to understand Sheikh Gumi and from where he's coming from. Sheikh Gumi is not a military man. He is not a government official. He is a man of the people. He has to be on the side of the people, no matter how badly the person may be. His own is to see how he can rehabilitate people. It's not to condemn people. That's what clerics do. Bishops or imams, they can't have the kind of mentality or thinking that people in government or people in the military or whatever you have. So that is what he should be saying in any case. If he says something different, people will be surprised that what kind of manner is this one, Sheikh, that is asking for people to be killed. So that's why I'm not surprised he's asking for some kind of middle ground how to settle issues.
Well, viewers, you have all heard from our guest, Engineer Yabagi Yusuf Sali, the National Chairman of the Action Democratic Party, ADP. This is how far we can go on today's episode until we come your way again. On same station, on behalf of everyone here in the studio, we say have a wonderful day and goodbye for now.